Hello, good morning. It's Monica from Life is Art, and this is the 10 a.m. technique at the Dive Right In online crop. We are going to be doing some inking, embossing, layering, and scrapping. And just waiting to set my camera in the right place once the video begins on my laptop. There we are. It has arrived. Oh, and I think we're actually really good today. Hooray. Let's see if we can just shift it up so we can see the bottom. There we go, and then we won't miss anything. We are going to be creating today, we're going to be using a couple of stamp sets. We're going to be using an embossing folder. We're going to be using some Country Woods paper. So let me just run through while everybody's finding the video. Let me run through the things that we're going to use. We're going to be using the So Swirly embossing folder. We are going to be using the Beauty of the Deep stamp set. We're also going to be using a little bit of the Sea Turtle stamp set. And we're going to be using the Country Woods collection, which if you have not seen the Country Woods collection yet, it's a fabulous collection of DSP 12 by 12, great for scrapbooking. And of course, it's wood grain. So, favorite of mine, of course, I'm actually on my second pack because you just can't get enough. What else are we gonna? We're gonna use this tiny little smidge of gold foil. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of things happening today. If you're joining me live, just say hello or howdy so I know you're here. And if you're watching later on replay, you can say replay. Now, just a quick note for those of you who placed an order in July and received a bonus days coupon. Now is the time to cash in those coupons anytime between August the 1st and August 31st. If you wait too long, they won't be available after August 31st. So that's my little PSA there, and I just realized that the sound is still on my phone. And I'm going to shut that off because that can be annoying when we're trying to do some scrapbooking. So let me just grab that and turn it off. I see that Diane is watching. Good morning, Diane. Happy Sunday. And oh, the other announcement that I wanted to make is that it is a holiday weekend in Canada. Monday is the civic holiday. Hey, Deborah. Good morning, and Heather's here too. So because Monday is a holiday, I won't be doing the prize draw on Monday. I will be doing it on Tuesday. And the result of that is that you have a whole extra day to do some crafting and post your photos of what you've created, to play the games, all those things, putting in orders, whatever it is that you want that you didn't have time for over the weekend. If you have some time Monday, right up until Tuesday at 9 a.m., you could still keep working on all those good things. So we're not really doing anything in the crop on Monday because of the holiday, but you have extra time. And we usually do that anytime there's a long weekend. Oh, pardon me. Okay, let's get started. Now, the main technique that I want to show you today is with this embossing folder, the So Swirly embossing folder. And it's a nice big size embossing folder, which makes it really useful for just about any project you want to do, including scrapbooking, because this is a 6 by 8 and 3/4. 6 by 8.5 embossing folder. And so you can obviously make large panels for scrapbooking, and you can even, make a couple card fronts out of one sheet. So that is a good thing to know. Now, if you look at your embossing folder, you will notice that one side has the emboss and one side has the deboss. And so usually, if you look at where the information is, like the logo and everything on the front, these are the raised bits that you feel here are the parts that are actually going to be debossed on your project. So these parts here will be the parts that get pushed up with the embossing folder. So these ones will end up being in the background, and these ones will be the things in the foreground. So one kind of technique that you can do with an embossing folder is you can ink your embossing folder. And so I'm going to ink my embossing folder. I've got a piece of white cardstock here that's been cut to 6 by 8, and I'm going to ink it using Pool Party. And I just have a little ink spot for this. And so I'm just going to go all over and just rub my ink. And yes, I noticed this with the ink spots. If you're rubbing too hard on these embossing folders, the little edges can kind of damage the thing. So you got to be careful. So I'm actually now going to just follow the swirls instead of going in circles, and maybe that will be a little gentler to the ink spot. So we're going to get ink everywhere on those debossing portions of the embossing folder. And once you're happy with how much ink you have on there, just swirl it all on. Then you're going to put your paper in. I can grab my paper, and I like to start from this end, and you're going to lay it down and not move it. Once you got it on there, don't move it, even if it's crooked, because that'll just make a mess. Hold it tight. Grab your machine. Make whatever sandwich works with your machine. I should have had this out and ready, but it takes up too much space. So we're going to stick it together, and I always put my embossing folders through with the folded side going in first. That puts less strain on the embossing folder hinge. And I'm going to run it through, and then I'm going to come back. Mostly just because I've got my sandwich going on here, and it's all over the place. Get all the flaps this way and that way. All right, so let's take that out. Move this out of the way. Like so. Put my ink out of the way. Are you ready to see? Are you ready to see? Good morning, Michelle. So now when we open our embossing folder, we have a lovely inked swirly pattern paper that is also embossed that we can now create some fun background paper, some embellishments, a card front, whatever you want to create with your lovely, so swirly, looking like the ocean currents embossed paper. Now this is going to need to be washed, and because this is water-based ink, I'm just going to set it aside for now. I'm not going to close it though. I don't really want the ink to transfer to the other side. I'm going to leave it open and just set it down there. Now I do want to do a bit of trimming on my piece. So I'm going to bring in my honkin' big trimmer here, and I'm just going to trim the edges off because I went a little over the edge. It's not essential to do this, but I'm going to. And that'll also square everything up. There we go. And there we go. All right, now the other thing I need to do is I need to trim this because I want it in 2 different chunks. So I'm going to trim, let me see, about 2.5 inches off one side. So now I have 2 pieces. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to scrap a 12 by 12 page, and I want my page to have a lot of this, but I need to spread it out. so that it covers more area. And we're going to hide the fact that there's a big gap in the middle. Okay, you can always do that. I'm just grabbing a piece of crumb cake cardstock. And I'm going to use crumb cake for the base for my layout. You know what? I might even put a little bit of adhesive here so that this doesn't wander away on me while I'm creating. Does anybody else do that? Stick down. I need my pick tool. I can't grab it. There we go. Does anybody else stick down their base before they start scrapping, so that if you're trying to measure things, it's not shifting around? All right, just gonna confirm that we're all in. There we go. We can see top and bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stick these two pieces of now already inked, already embossed paper onto my layout. I'm gonna grab some adhesive, like so. And on this one. And I'm going to use my ruler to help me line this up, just to make sure we're getting it straight. So I want to come to about 1.5 inches up from the bottom. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. We got that one. And that one. All right. There we go. So we're going to come 1.5 inches up from the bottom, and we're going to be centered on our page. So I'm just coming up 1.5 with my ruler, and I've also got my inches on my ruler, which is why I flipped it, so that I can put it 2 inches in from the side. You sometimes got to take advantage of those ruler lines, right? And then we're going to come in with our other piece, and we're going to do the same thing in reverse. We're going to come down not in reverse, but in mirror. We're going to mirror it. We're going to come down 1.5, like that. And we're going to come in 2 inches from each side and stick it down. Lovely. We may need our ruler again as we go along. Now, if you saw the title when you clicked in, we're doing ink, emboss, layer, and scrap. So far, what have we done? We've done our ink and our emboss. Now we're on to layer. So we're going to start making some layers, and that's going to fill in this gap. I see Diane's commenting. Fantastic paper now. Michelle says she doesn't tape it down, but she absolutely should. Good morning, Mary. Nice to see you're joining us. Yes, the taping it down really helps, especially if you're going to do that with the ruler and make sure things are straight. And some people absolutely need to have things straight when they are doing their scrapbooking. Now, for my photo, I'm going to go ahead and show you my photo. And some of you saw this last night because I was getting ready to print it off for this layout. This is a picture of me and my bestie in Newfoundland. We were about to go on a whale watching cruise. This was for her right before her wedding. Yes, before her wedding. And so her parents were there, her in-laws, her fiance, siblings, myself, you know, a nice little bunch of people. And we were all going out on this whale and puffin excursion. And so there was this really fun statue by the pier, and so we of course all had to have our pictures taken with the mermaid, and so I thought that would be a really fun photo to use on this layout. I'm going to layer it up with a piece of smoky slate cardstock that I have cut a little bit bigger. So my photo is actually 4 inches by 5 7/8, but my smoky slate is 4 3/8 by 6.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick some adhesive on here, and you will notice that I'm adhering in from the edges. And you guys all know why I do that. It's in case I want to tuck anything under later. It gives me the option. And I'm going to stick it down a little bit off to the side and down to the left. So we've got a little extra showing around the edges. I'm not going to stick this down yet, but I will put some adhesive on it so that I'm ready when the time comes. And we're going to just kind of lay it on our layout, and I'm going to put it so that it's over here at the edge. And you'll notice I'm trying to line up my photo with my swirly embossed paper, but the smoky slate is going to stick outside the box. Okay, so we're going to create some fun movement on our page to go along with this swirly movement that we've been having. Now, I said we were going to do something with the wood grain paper, and we sure are. I've got several different pieces of the wood grain, and this is one that I really think is perfect for beachy kinds of layouts because it's got those fun sort of sea glass colors in them. And so this is from the Country Woods. I've got 2 strips of this that are 1 inch by 5 inches. And you know what? A layout, when you do a lot of layering, is a very good layout for using up little bits. Now, I have some little bits, I tell you, of this wood grain, but I did also just buy a fresh pack. So this particular paper came out of the fresh pack. It wasn't just little bits that were left over. All right, so let's go ahead and sort of start laying out what we want to do with our papers here. So we're going to have our wood grain kind of sticking out like that. And then this one is going to be up here, and I'm going to try and line them up. So I'll use my ruler a little later, but I want to make sure I'm getting everything where I want it. Now, I could have cut an entire piece of a strip, a great big long strip to fill in that space, but it would be wasted paper, and I'm not going to waste my Country Woods paper because it's a favorite of mine. So I'm coming in with another strip from the Country Woods, this really distressed misty moonlight chippy wood grain. It's actually the back side of this one, and we're going to tuck this in here as well. Let me see. I'm actually going to move that up a little bit like that. We're going to put this right to the edge like that, and then this one's going to come down like that. Then we're going to come in with something a little bit different. So in the Country Woods, we have things like Early Espresso, Wild Wheat, there's some Pool Party, there's some Petal Pink, Misty Moonlight, all those kinds of things going on. So one of those names you heard me say was Early Espresso, and I have the Neutrals 6x6 DSP, and so there is some Early Espresso in there, and I wanted sort of a larger pattern that wasn't a wood grain. I know it's not a wood grain, but we're gonna persevere through that. And I wanted to layer that in here as well. So that's gonna get tucked in here along the edge like that. And I'll actually have it line up right with the edge of that. Now you're going to see a little gap. That's okay. We'll get there. Then I have this paper. Oh my goodness, isn't it gorgeous? And it's got that lovely Pool Party that we've got going on there, along with some of the grays and browns seeping through. And what I want to do with this is I actually want to make this into 2 pieces. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to tear this right down here. And I'm tearing with the this side pulling towards myself because I don't want the white edge on this, okay? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So this portion of it is going to get tucked under here, like so. There we go. And this portion of it is going to get turned around and tucked under here, like so. So it looks like it comes all the way across, and then it's got that fun torn edge. So you can see all these layers that we're creating. I think it's really fun, don't you? And so I think before I go any farther, I'm going to start putting some of these down. So let's see. I'm going to use my ruler to help me with this. And this one is lined up at about 9 3/8. So 9 3/8, right about there. So I can add some adhesive. And stick this down at about 9 3/8. And I'm going to use sort of this top thing here to try and keep it straight. Okay, then we'll come down to the bottom. And we'll stick down this piece. This is where it comes in handy to not have that bottom layer shifting around on you. And add that one, 9 3/8. Okay, now everything else I think can kind of just build on top. So let's add in this piece next, the lovely Misty Moonlight pattern. And it's going to come in. I like how there's little bits kind of poking up here and sticking out there. Nothing is lining up, and that is a really good technique. We were doing that the other day with one of our projects. We were making sure that nothing was majorly lined up. Everything's a little in and out and in and out, and that really adds a lot of movement to your layout. It makes your eye travel around, which is what you want on a layout. And now we're going to tuck this under here, like so. And this one, I'm going to have to take this out. It's getting in my way. We're going to line this up. This one's going to be lined up with the edge, like so. And then, well, let's get this one on next. I'll stop with my and thens. I'll do this one next, and then we'll do something else. I've got a little something something coming in. So we're going to hide that foil, or hide that torn edge behind there. This is going to stick out a little bit. And let me see. I'm going to move it right like that. Okay. The and then is I've got a little bit of gold foil, just 1/8 of an inch of the gold foil specialty paper. Let me grab my liquid glue for this. And we are going to put a little line of glue right along the edge of that early espresso pattern paper. And where you see that little gap right there. And we're just going to tuck that in there. And I thought that this would look really kind of fun with the mermaid, because the mermaid's kind of got some brassy gold happening in the hair and the shells and things. So I thought that would be fun. And then we're also, and then we're going to come in with a piece of, again, from that Neutrals collection, we've got a piece of pattern paper, the DSP, that is the crumb cake color. And so this is 6 inches by 3 1/4. We're going to add that on here. Another layer. so many layers, but not huge pieces of paper. And that's why I've been kind of showing these sorts of projects, because a lot of the lovely DSP is 6 by 6 paper. And I want everyone to be able to see that you can totally scrap with 6 by 6 paper. All right, let's add in our torn piece. We want to get our ruler. We will use our ruler for this one because we're spanning a gap. I'm not even sure that I put that straight on there. I think we're all a little wonky. That paper is not entirely straight. You're probably all looking at it from above and going, that's really crooked. Way to go. But we're gonna keep on keeping on. We're gonna tuck that under there like that and have that nice bit of pattern showing out the side like so. And then I think we can go ahead and stick down our photo. Oh, right, I already did that. A little surprise behind there. Completely forgot I'd already put the adhesive on. All right, and we're going to line our photo up with the outside of our swirly paper. We're going to, let me see, stick it down there like that. Stick it on, and I should also close that, although we might use it in a minute. No, we are going to use it. I've completely forgot a step. I knew I would. We're going to add some gold foil. Let's see. Can we do it? Well, we can do a bunch of it. All right. I'm going to just tear it there. So this is another 1/8 of an inch piece of the gold foil. We're going to run it right along the bottom of this neutral DSP in the crumb cake color. I'm just going to slide that under there and then stick it in the glue. Oops. Swoop. There we go. And I've made a mess with the glue, of course. So we'll just kind of wipe it off. You got to try and not get glue on the top of foil, because it always gets a little gunky if you have gold foil. Doesn't matter if it's gold foil with glue on it. It really shows. So there, now you can see a nice little glow from the gold. How fun is that? And then we need to start doing some embellishments, and that's where we're going to bring in our stamp sets. We've got our Beauty of the Deep stamp set, and I've already done some of it ahead of time. And as I add embellishments, we may do some more stamping. So I went ahead and I stamped a couple of the large sort of seaweedy, corally goodness onto Petal Pink, which is one of the coordinating colors for this Country Woods collection. And so I've cut a couple of those out. So stick one there and maybe one over here like that to add some detail. Then, of course, the lovely long seaweed. We've stamped that onto some Pool Party, so it's all matchy-matchy. And we can stick that on. This is fun. So my jacket is sticking out weirdly in this picture. I think I had my backpack on. And so if we just do that, then it doesn't look like I have a weird hump on my bum. Does anybody else hide weird humps on their bums with their embellishment? Yeah, sometimes that just is what you do. There we go. Okay, and then I've also got some corally bits, so we could stick those in amongst the cluster here. And I've also stamped out the anchor. Now I should mention that I stamped these on the colors. So this was on Calypso Coral, Petal Pink, Pool Party, and this is the Smoky Slate. but I didn't use black ink for this. I used the early espresso so that it kind of melded in. I know you want your embellishments to stand out, but you don't want them to be crazy stood out. So I decided to kind of mellow them down by using that early espresso. So we're going to make a couple little embellishment clusters. And then over here, we can add a little bit more. Now, I did something a little different. So I had stamped this out. That's what it looked like, right? Just the same as the other one. But then I just trimmed it apart. So now I have two separate pieces. So I can go ahead and kind of layer them a little bit differently if I want to get a little different look. And just like we did the other day where we cut apart our die cut for the coral arch, you can do it with any stamped and die cut image. You can really adjust them to suit your own taste. All right, so now let's also do some of the starfish from this sea turtle collection, because I think some little starfish would be nice. So I've got both of them on this one block. I've also got some Calypso coral ink, which will match with this paper here. But to make it a little different, I'm just digging through my drawer. Like I always say, I keep little scrappy bits in my drawer. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp some starfish onto this white cardstock. So I'm just going to ink up with the Calypso coral, like so, and stamp. Oops, I stamped right off the edge. Let's try that again. We'll try to stay on the paper. I don't usually stamp right on my table, so we'll see how good this goes here. But I've got that. Yeah, it's looking all right. Now maybe we could also stamp them in another color. I'm just trying to find my Stampin' Scrub. Where did I put it? It's always in my drawer. Whoops! I've lost my Stampin' Scrub. Is it in my drawer? No, it's not in my drawer. Okay, well, we're just going to stamp off on the scrap paper. Get as much inky goodness off as we can. And then I think we'll come in and we'll do some with Pool Party, just to see what it looks like. I don't know if that's what I want, but we'll ink it up, stamp it down. Sorry, I'm way over here on the side. Yeah, that's all right. Let's maybe do it again, in case we want more. You never know. Let me flip it over. Flip it over. Stamp, stamp, stamp. Stamp, stamp, stamp. And will it fit? Can we make it fit? Let's grab another scrap. This is why we have a drawer full of scrap paper. Oh, look, there's the one I was double stamping on yesterday. Stamp it on there. Okay. Enough stampy stampy. Let's close those up because I'll be sure to stick something in them. Let's rough cut. Throw it back in the scrap drawer. This might not have enough good pieces left to go back in the scrap drawer. That one we stamped off the edge, but it could be useful. All right, we'll start out with those. And let's see, let's start out with one of these. Maybe a little one. So all we have to do is just follow the shape, leaving a halo of white, pivoting our paper all the way around. Now, depending on how I see this looking when I stick it down, I may decide to do some inking on there. Nope, I like it. I likes it. I likes it a lot. All right, let's also grab this one that was half stamped. or partial stamped. You never have to throw them out entirely, because sometimes you can use them by just tucking them in behind something else. And that will totally work. And we'll just go around the edges like so. Who else likes fussy cutting? Some people do, some people don't. So we're gonna stick some on there like that. Looking good. All right, and then up here, I wanted to add a little bit more of an organic shape, less of the straight lines. So I'm going to do a little fussy cutting on this extra little coral I stamped out. This was using the early Espresso on the Calypso coral. And you get a really good practice pivoting your paper when you're cutting out little coral like this. And this is another one where we're going to cut apart our die, or cut apart our stamped image to create two different pieces. And around and around and around we go. This is also one that's very nubbly, and I think I might have said this the other day. Because it's so nubbly, if you're unsure of your fussy cutting abilities, this is a good one to try because it's so nubbly. It's just in and out and in and out and all around, and you know, whatever happens, happens. So it's a good one to practice on. You don't have to feel that it's too much this or too much that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go snip. And what I want to do is I want to tuck a little bit of that poking out there and a little bit of it poking out here, just to add a little bit more texture in a couple other spots. Okay, now I need a title for this layout, and I would like your suggestions on what the title should be, because I was struggling, just like the other layout I was working on. I was struggling on a title. I was trying to decide if I should include something about a mermaid in it or not. And I'm actually going to put my title right here, so I don't want it to be a huge title. I could do something like By the Sea. That was about the only one that I came up with. So if you have a suggestion for my title, let me know in the comments, and we will add it on. Good morning, Allison. I see your comment says me. Is that the title that you're suggesting? Or are you the person who likes to fussy cut and cut apart things and all that stuff? You probably made that comment when I asked a question. All right, so we're just fussy cutting some more of these little starfish because they're sitting here and I can't resist fussy cutting them. Mermaid and her sisters from another mother. That's a good one, Diane. It's a little big for my space, but a good one. Just seeing where I can tuck in little starfishies. Any other suggestions? Sea tails? Mer girls? If I was going to do a lot of journaling on here, I could always do mermaid tails, but spell it as in telling a tale. I once caught a fish this big. It's a tall tale. kind of liking how that's looking. So let's get some of these pieces stuck down. I'm going to use some liquid glue for this. There we go. Like so. Diane says she has lots of sisters from other mothers. Yes. Okay, stick down. This one can just go down with some tape. Mermaid wishes and starfish kisses. Yes, but it's you're right. It's a little bit long, but it would work because I've got mermaids and starfishes going on here. So it would be thematic, right? All right, so we're sticking down our little clusters of embellishments, and I know some of you participate in swaps and embellishment challenges and things like that. And this is the kind of thing you could make a little cluster like this, and then just back it on a little piece of, put a little circle behind or something to contain it all. And that would be fun. I'm going to pop that one on there like that. Actually, no, I liked it behind better. I want it poking out from behind. Let's see if I can do it now. Yay. There we go. And the last one. So what I'll do is I'll do the same thing I did the other day, and I will finish this up, and then I will think and add my title, and then you'll see it when I post the picture. It'll be like a secret reveal. A title reveal. You know how people have the gender reveals for babies? This will be the title reveal. All right. So we're tucking in a few embellishments here and there to create some fun little clusters. But we're going to also need a little bit of bling on here, in my humble opinion. I think it's going to require some bling. So I have actually some bling that was gifted to me by Samantha that's retired. And I thought it looked just perfect with the layout. So that's what I'm going to use, but it's not one that is currently available, sadly. I try to use stuff that if you like it, you'd be able to get it. But this particular time, it's not going to work out. So this little guy is going to get tucked in behind here. So his little arm is hidden. And then, whoop, he's got a tail. Look at that. Came along for the ride. Now, before I forget, I still have those ones up there. Don't let me forget, because I'll go and pick up my layout to show you what I've done. And all the little bits will fall off. Ask me how I know. I've done it before. Did it the other day. It wasn't even a long time ago. It was just the other day. Tuck that in behind there. And tuck this one. Now, when I adhere things down, you'll notice that I am not putting glue in every nook and cranny of these embellishments. And that's because they don't need to be. And it will actually give them more dimension, a little bit of lift if they're not all stuck down. And I like that. I like that effect. Alrighty. One more. starfish. Do I want it tucked? No, we'll just stick it on top. We'll just stick it on there like that. Okay. Put the lid on the glue. All right, so we still have to add in our title, but let's go ahead and add some of these blings. See these bling? They were clear, they're sort of white frosty, and then there's these ones that are kind of, they pick up on like the petal pink and the Calypso coral, and I think they, and also even on the crumb cake, and I think they just look shiny and lovely on here. Oh, a mermazing time. Very nice. Some good suggestions. And it also looks good with the gold. So let's go ahead and add a few blings in and among here. Let's add some there like that. And we can even put a couple up here. Like that. Let's add one over here. Just kind of tucking them in around where things are clustered seems to work well. Let's add one there. And I may add some around when I stick the title on. I might just. Let's go ahead and add those. Maybe one over here. And one more. One more for good measure. I don't know how many I've got on there, but I'm happy with that. So there we go. We have created our layout. We have done our ink, our emboss, our layering, and our scrapping, just like we said we were going to do. We started out with that fun technique of adding ink to our embossing folder before running it through. That creates this lovely swirly pattern, which kind of goes with the swirly things that are happening here at the base of the statue. And then we layered up with all those beautiful wood grains from the Country Woods collection. We added in a little bit of gold foil for a little sparkle to go with our mermaid. And then also some of the neutrals in Early Espresso and Crumb Cake from the Neutral 6x6 DSP. We did a little bit of paper tearing, a little bit of stamping, a little bit of fussy cutting, and a little bit of bling to bring it all together. We just need our title, we need some journaling, and it will be a completed layout. I hope you enjoyed seeing that come together. I hope you feel inspired to pull out your embossing folders and add some ink to them and create some fun pattern paper of your own. I know last night during Chat and Craft, somebody said, oh, I don't have the pattern paper I'm looking for. And of course, everybody said, make some. So this is one way that you can make some, and it's got a lovely texture to it. And it just adds so much detail to the layout. All right, have a wonderful rest of your morning, and we will be on for Chat and Craft at 11:30. We'll see you then. Toodaloo. Bye.